What is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another episode of The Kingdom Says. I am your host, as always, Garrett Williams. Tonight, I am joined by two familiar faces to the Kingdom Says program. On the top right of the screen, we've got Kyle Henning. How you doing tonight, Kyle?
Doing all right. Ready to talk some a little bit of training camp. So ready to go.
Yep. We got training camp in full force, and joining us also, Mr. Randy Ellenberger. How you doing, Randy?
Doing awesome. I am doing awesome. It's good to be back on with you fellas, and football's back. We have football every weekend until February from now on, and that puts a big old smile on my face. So,
yeah.
And I'm getting ready for our fall camp to start in 11 days, so we're gonna be rolling. Can't wait.
Yep.
Goodness.
It's in the air. Football is
Rip
in the
your
air.
your free time. Yeah, good luck.
Exactly, but I love it.
There's real football being played, though. Actually, the first NFL game of the season was played.
That was not real football. I just want to go ahead and get that out of the way now.
It never is, We hype up the Hall of Fame game so much every year because it's the first, live action football with whistles and refs and on two teams facing each other, and then we usually end up getting
no more chain gang, no.
More chain gang.
And then we watch DJ. They're still on the sideline. They just don't come out and measure.
We got the new virtual measuring system that NFL implemented. Yeah.
Then we got to watch DJU. Well, I didn't because I didn't waste a second of my time turning that garbage on. But Trey Lance and DJU against Kyle Allen and God knows who at quarterback for the Lions. And let me tell you,
Hendon
boys
Hooker,
and girls.
I think was the other
Oh, yeah, Hendon Hooker. Let me tell you guys, if you didn't watch it, don't worry. You didn't miss a fucking thing.
You didn't
Not one.
Yeah, that first preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, is always the worst one too. It's because it's so early on. Like they start a whole week after.
I'm surprised they played. They got through the whole game.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they got through the whole game. How many years has it been? In almost, I think it's been several years in a row. The field was completely destroyed, so they barely played at all on it. Yeah. It rained. There was It's always some wild because it's played in Canton, Ohio, if you're not familiar with where the Pro Football Hall of Fame is. And I don't even know if there are high schools in Texas that would refuse to play on that field.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
So straight up tell you no. So.
Yeah, it's definitely, it was definitely football, and it was definitely televised, so we can't be too critical of it. But yeah, after that first two drives, I was like, all right, we're good. I'm out of here.
I'm surprised you made it 2 drives.
Yeah, so we have much more fun and relevant stuff to talk about in Chiefs camp. But before we get to Chiefs camp, there's some NFL news around the league that's been kind of taken over. A lot of star players requesting trade requests. This is a big thing that this happened. There's been a couple this offseason. It started with, way back in the offseason, Myles Garrett requested a trade, and then he ended up signing a big deal. Now we have, I think, like three really active kind of trade requests in Terry McLaurin. We got Trey Hendrickson is still pretty disgruntled, I think, over there in Cincinnati. And then the new one today being Micah Parsons requesting a trade from the Cowboys, which is, it's a big blockbuster, big bombshell type deal of these players requesting the trades. Unfortunately, in these situations, the players really don't have a whole lot of leverage. And it's even worse situation that this is happening when the NFLPA is probably at its worst right now. But yeah, that's been the talk. Ever since Micah requested a trade today. Ever since Micah requested a trade today, the all of Chiefs Kingdom is like, well, might as well just bring him here. Might as well just bring him here. Why not bring him here?
Well, it's like we jump on every single guy that gets cut or anybody who wants a trade. We're like, yeah, bring him in. We're like, it's not freaking feasible.
Not Madden or fantasy football.
Yeah, let's turn the salary cap off and then we can just sign everybody.
Like I had some people on socials asking legitimately, like, what are the chances? You have a better chance of buying a Powerball ticket and winning the lottery. Like, what it would take for Micah or even for Terry McLaurin, you're going to have to give up several assets, more assets for Micah than you will for Terry, but several assets, and then you're going to have to pay either one of them between $30 and $40 million a year.
Yeah, big money.
And you guys don't seem like for the whole group that's freaking out and wanting him. Most of you that I'm seeing doing this are the same ones that were throwing and screaming that you couldn't pay Trent McDuffie after you paid George Karlaftis 17 per for 6 years. What do you think happens if they give up 17 assets and then pay Micah Parsons $42 million a year?
Super
You're
Bowls.
going to lose Trent. You're going to lose Rasheed. Hell, you may have to even sacrifice somebody else that you don't want out of that group. Like, it doesn't make sense.
No.
From a contract perspective, from the way that the Chiefs... Now, if Micah's willing to get traded and take 25, okay, we'll talk about it. That's fine. But
yeah, he won't though.
I just no, because that doesn't make sense for Micah.
Yeah.
So wait 5 years when Micah still doesn't have a ring, because Jerry's held him hostage for the last 4.
Yeah.
Because remember, the other part of this is the Cowboys have team control with Micah. Like, he's under contract now, and they have at least 2 franchise tags available for their disposal if they so choose.
Right.
So unless you have somebody that's going to be able to go in and strong-arm Jerry Jones, and I want people to understand, has anyone ever successfully strong-armed Jerry Jones into anything?
Not to our knowledge, no.
He fired Tom Landry and Bill Parcells and Jimmy Johnson. Guys, like...
Yeah.
What? No, it's not... Micah can ask for a trade until he turns blue.
Jerry
I don't think it's going to matter.
Jerry
And it's fine, but we just saw this movie with Myles Garrett. I'm done. Sorry, Cleveland. I love you guys. I'm out. Oh, $40 million? Yeah, okay, I can figure that out.
Yeah, it's definitely just a leverage tactic.
Now,
I
will say this.
$40 million a year. I can lose for that. Yeah.
I will say this. The way that the Cowboys have handled Micah is unacceptable.
Pretty bad.
Trying to circumvent his agent, trying to outright slander the man in public and while he's being the good soldier and not saying anything and being quiet and being positive and being at camp. And then you go out and you're like, well, Dak got injured and Trayvon Diggs didn't work out with us and do his rehab at our facility, so Micah Parsons doesn't deserve his money. Like, what?
Yeah, the biggest takeaway from the whole situation, I feel like, for Chiefs fans watching all of that go down, and even some other situations like Trey Hendrickson in Cincinnati, where it's like, dude's clearly just like one of the best edge rushers in the league, and they just refuse to go to the negotiating table with him. It's like, it kind of makes you appreciate the Chiefs front office and how they kind of handle their business a lot better than some of these other organizations.
Surprised by the Bengals? Who is surprised by the Bengals?
No. They don't
being unwilling to pay
anyone.
Yeah.
You had to know as a Bengals fan, once they paid T. Higgins, there was no money left.
No.
Yeah, I mean, they paid T and Jamar at the same time.
That's what I'm saying. They already put he was selling naming rights to the stadium to get Joe Burrow's signing bonus, guys.
Yeah.
What? The only team that's was more cash poor before them was the Raiders, and that was until they moved to Vegas. Like, they take golf carts across public streets to get to practice.
Yeah, there's
we've seen them walking across sidewalks
some of these
to get to the Bengals practice facility.
Yeah.
If you're surprised that the disagreement between Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals is on the guaranteed money, I don't know what to tell you, because if you don't know about NFL contracts, the guaranteed money has to be put into an escrow account, which means the owner has to have that cash available to put into the escrow account.
Gotta have the cash.
I'll tell you a secret. The Bengals don't have the cash.
They haven't got very much cash. You're right. Yeah, so that's the big thing. And the longer they wait, Jerry and the Bengals, like the contracts just keep going up. That's why you try to hammer home a deal like we did with George Karlaftis as early as possible. Which,
by the way, Micah tried to do, and they said no.
Yeah.
The thing with Hendrickson is, like, I mean, Cincinnati knew full well that after signing Chase and Higgins that they weren't going to have any money available. So why drag your feet and have this whole nonsensical case of just them being an idiot and try to get something for Trey? I mean, try to get something for him, because now you're not going to get near what you could have at the beginning of all this. Now everybody knows that you're broke. and you're just dragging and limping along, they're not going to
Well,
give you anything.
why were they arguing with their second round rookie about guaranteed money, Randy?
Can't pay him if you go to jail, right?
Like,
Yeah. There's definitely some interesting. It's crazy how some of these people just are in charge of running sports teams and, and operations like this. So makes you appreciate what we got here in Kansas
yes.
City.
Right.
But like I said, and the one team that doesn't make sense is the Commanders. You have the rookie contract. You have the golden ticket. You have it.
Yeah. I mean,
Terry does not have that season he had last year without Terry McLaurin. It's not
well, and you have made that man suffer through quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
That I can't even begin to remember all of, because who would bother? Mm-hmm. And he's been nothing but a model citizen, face of the franchise, never complains, never says a word, just shows up and does his job. And he's your number one target for your young rookie quarterback. And instead of just getting it done, we're haggling around. Like, some of the thought yes, we get it. You guys are big and powerful. You're big, powerful NFL owners and GMs. Great. Do you want to win, or do you just want to exist? And in some of these cases, I don't know that they know the answer to the question. And partially probably because they haven't won in so long, they didn't know what winning looked like. And some of them are new to the NFL ownership, like the Commanders.
Yeah, and nobody saw the Commanders
so
last year like they did either. Like they caught lightning in a bottle right off the bat, and I don't see him replicating that success this year again. But
especially if they don't have Terry. I mean, outside of Terry, there's not many other weapons in that.
I was gonna say it'd be a hell of a lot easier if they have their number one wide receiver.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a general way to keep your players happy is to pay them, what they're due and what they've earned and when they've earned it. That's a big thing too. You look at Dallas, like after Micah announced that trade, how many Dallas Cowboys players changed their profile picture to Micah Parsons? Like so many.
CeeDee Lamb was like, "Why do we just keep doing the same circus? Just
it's like
pay people."
It sets an example for the rest of the locker room that, like, hey, I could ball out and work so hard for this organization and give everything and be very successful. Like, Micah Parsons has had one of the most successful starts to a career.
And literally be one of the best players at your position.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter because you're not going to get taken care of.
What are we, a year removed from CD?
Yeah.
And they just did this with CeeDee Lamb. And who did they do it with before?
Yeah, and then they pay some
Dak
guys.
Prescott. And who did they do it with before that? Zeke. And it's the same song and dance every single time.
Always just got to stretch it out as far as possible. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's certainly a way to do business, but I don't think it's a good one. I do not think it's a good one.
Jerry, part of it with the Cowboys is Jerry just loves being
the
center of
Jerry
attention.
Loves being, he loves being the owner of the Cowboys.
It feels like that's all it's about for the Cowboys. Because unlike the Bengals, Jerry doesn't have cash flow problems.
Yeah,
Jerry's the richest owner in the league by a country mile.
Yeah.
So
and still having these issues, yeah.
But that again, that goes back to like you were happy to have it not like there's not cash flow issues, and the owner's not a narcissistic lunatic. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Like usually there's one or the other in these situations, and I hear people, Clark's cheap. Clark's cheap. Clark doesn't like. Okay, no, Clark has a budget and he sticks to it for the most part. But also on the off chance that they. I thought you said Marcus Smart, and I was laughing about something totally different. But if you don't know, there was some news that came out about Mr. Marcus not too long ago, and that wasn't very good. Marcus was not smart. Clark is smart. Yeah. But if he needs to, he will go dig more cash out and use it. And they did a lot of contracts this offseason. A lot of money went into escrow this offseason. A lot of things got done. And you didn't really have any of the... Everybody's like, Trey, he's gonna hold out. No, because it didn't get to that point. There was no need to get to that point. deadlines make deals. Well, some of
And plus,
these
Ricky told us it was
organizations,
going to happen.
deadlines.
Yeah.
Well, and Ricky's been on a heater for a while now, so
Yeah.
Whoever
that's a good thing.
Ricky is and whoever he's plugged into somehow, like
Crazy. Yeah.
a man's got a crystal ball in his freaking closet or something.
But it's for the fan base as far as clamoring for every person that comes up available. I get it when it's like the middle of the season and they're like cut guys and it's like UDF. Okay, fine. This stuff, it's not Madden. It's
No.
not fantasy football. And you're also going to mortgage a lot of what you do and what you've built yourself off of, which is identifying talent, building through the draft, rewarding your hometown guys to go out and give up a mountain of assets and money
Yeah,
for
that's a
somebody
move
that
that.
may not fit your locker room.
Yeah, doing something like that's a move that lesser organizations make. Some of the bottom tier teams who need a big splash, need a big
Panthers,
upgrade. Something
the,
like
the,
that.
the
Raiders,
bottom of the barrel, yeah,
Bears,
they might,
Yeah.
take a step.
Jaguars,
I mean, Bears are a great example because
Giants.
they're probably the most recent example of trading for a big edge rusher, where they did with Khalil Mack a couple of years ago, and that was a
How'd
big.
that go?
Didn't go. I don't think Khalil Mack did very
He was
much
back
for them.
in. He was back with the Chargers like what 3 years later.
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes these and the other thing is like none of these guys are going to get traded too. Like that's the big thing. It's like the owners have all the leverage. Like they have contract leverage. They can use the franchise tags and player options and all that. Like these guys aren't
Trey
going to go
Hendrickson
anywhere.
might sit out, and that wouldn't surprise me with the way that they
Trey,
treated him.
I don't know. I don't know if Trey Hendrickson's. I think he's probably just gonna suck it up and play, which is unfortunate. But that's the only leverage that players have is to sit out games. That's what Chris Jones had to do. Uh, a couple of years ago, and it did. It worked. But that's what you have to threaten. Like if you're not,
He also
dead
said,
set,
"Don't do it the way I did it."
Yeah, exactly.
That was a quote
also,
this offseason.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if there's any crazy trades around the league. I doubt it, but hey, this is the season where
answering
people
questions at a Ronald McDonald House charity event.
It's also just a very trying times in the NFL. All these guys going through camp, and you're sweating your balls off and doing all this hard work in hot camps, and then all of a sudden your owner's coming out and just saying crazy stuff on you. It's like, why am
smashing
I
you over the head with nonsense.
Like, why am I even out here then? Like this is the worst part of the year for us. Like, and then you're doing all this. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if cooler heads prevail. But in Chiefs world, I'm telling you, it's pretty good. It's still pretty good. A lot of training camp action been going on. We're gonna cover a couple.
Things are good in St. Joe, right?
Yeah, St. Joe also.
That's
very
not a sentence I ever thought I would agree with, but yeah. No offense to anybody that listens to this show from St. Joe. I doubt there is, but I've been there plenty. It's
a beautiful place to have training camp. Is where it is. A beautiful place.
Yeah, it's a town.
Yeah, Chiefs are one of the few people, one of the few teams who still travel away for a training camp, which I think is a very, very big help as far as team building and and just overall getting guys ready.
Everyday local distractions, and they have one thing to focus on.
Yeah,
it's dorm life.
Dorm life,
but with one focus. Like if you never lived in a house or in a dorm setting with a bunch of people that were pretty much all focused on the same thing, it's a really good way to get to know each other. It's a really good way to find out interests that you may not know you actually shared with people you would have never dreamed you have the same. It's a really good way to do things. It's rough, it's hot, it's long. They're away from their families for a few weeks. It's no different than long road trips in the major leagues, or it's good for them to spend some time, focus on the craft, and really get to know their teammates and really work on building that bond.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. So it's good that the Chiefs are still doing it. Obviously, Andy Reid runs one of the better training camps. Not a lot of BS, no joint practices and none of that stupid stuff. Just get out there, grind, and do some long periods, long drive drills, all that stuff. Really get the players, acclimated to all the conditions they need to be going in. So, biggest news or biggest talk of camp still, and we covered it on last episode a good amount. But Randy, I want to get your thoughts on Josh Simmons. He is still impressing. He is just at this point, definitely almost seems like a lock to be the starting left tackle week one, and he's definitely looking the part according to all parties involved.
Yeah, for sure. Like, still, it's gonna be one of those things where people are just gonna be like, really? We let the Chiefs get this guy at 32? Like, what the f were we doing? Like,
Yeah,
I understand, the whole injury concern and everything that was going through the draft process. Me and Tom talked about that stuff at nauseum, during draft time, and even with the injury, like, he was our clear cut would have been number one tackle in that class without it. And that was just the one rain cloud hanging over is that patellar injury going to be significant enough to where he wasn't going to be able to come back. And props to the Chiefs training staff that did their due diligence through that process, and the staff we have is phenomenal. So they checked all the boxes, said he was good to go. He was ahead of schedule with his rehab, and now he's coming in, and everybody just kind of thought it was going to be a red shirt year, like he's going to maybe take a little time to process and get up to speed and do all the things. And hey, guess what? We don't have to wait.
yeah,
Um,
he's here.
No, Nate
he's
Taylor. Whoa,
and I tell you
it's
what,
so
man, just watching the first few clips of just one-on-one pass rush, just his technique, his feet, his hands, and just his tenacity, even without pads on him, you're just like, damn. Like, one of the first clips I saw was him against Menahue, and he just stoned him. Like, it was no contest whatsoever. He set and punched, and it was done. Um, and the other day where he gets into a little tussle with Gelati, and everybody's like, oh, what are they fighting for? I'm like, you know what? I absolutely love to see that shit, because we got two young dudes who are fiery as all hell and have some power and some ability, and they are ready to rock right out of the gate, and they're taking it to each other, and it's only going to make both of them better. Like, this is we
well.
hit a home run with this, and I mean, barring injury or anything stupid, like, we have left tackle for a long time.
You brought up the altercation, we'll call it, between him and Gelati.
That punch, I'll tell you
Yeah.
that punch.
Well, I mean, that's what I was gonna say. Was Randy said he got the punch off on him, and he's talking about like an offensive lineman tackle punch, not the one he threw on Ashton.
Yeah,
That was a little
that
different.
punch on July, I'm telling
Um,
you, I like that.
was quick. It
You
was
know,
just
you know what
fast.
I did like about that punch, though, probably the most out of anything, he did it with an open hand, and he wasn't worried about
It busted
maybe
his hand
taking
on the helmet.
fingers on a helmet or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, if you're gonna punch a helmet, you gotta do it with the open hand. Yeah,
It
A
never
very
made
aggressive
any
slap.
sense to me, these guys that are punching dudes with helmets on, but I'm like, well, you do you, man.
I can't say too much. I played hockey, and that comes with the territory. But uh,
Yeah, very happy
the
with
other part of it is,
Simmons.
you know why that altercation happened? Because
Really
Ashton
hot.
Gelati is trying his ass off all week
And he ain't
and
getting nowhere.
been getting mugged by Josh
I see
Simmons.
that one clip of his went viral. Yeah,
He's probably real tired of seeing him get thrown across the backfield like a
Yeah.
small child. And he is not a small man.
No,
And he got
that dude's
launched
got some power to him.
across.
His body is strong, but
He's going to be really good too.
Yeah.
But the problem is he is going against a pro-ready left tackle coming out of college.
right.
it's a good.
That
way
is
to
a
test it.
top 10 pick with no injury concerns.
I think he's a top.
And
He's a top 5 pick with no injuries. Like, he is legit.
yeah,
I'm so happy.
legitimately hands, feet, but his head, he knows where he needs to direct guys to.
Yeah.
Charles Minihue was talking about one of the other guys on defense about I think it was Gelati about him grabbing wrists, and it took Charles like 3 or 4 years to figure that part out.
Yeah.
Is what Charles was saying.
I think
Josh Simmons
That
was
was
similar.
Norman Lott. That was on
Norman Lott, sorry.
Yeah.
They have 2 very good young defensive linemen that they
yeah.
took in this draft, so it's keeping them straight is going to be a tough one for me. 8 points.
I mean,
But-
what did Schwartz call Simmons? Was a bear with dancing feet or ballerina feet? Or
Yeah,
something?
ballerina bear is
Yeah.
basically what it is. Yes,
Like,
and it makes perfect sense. Look, I am on record about the offensive line coaching staff of the last few years and their resume.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do with this kid is not fuck him up. Okay, that's it. Let him grow, let him learn, let him get comfortable, and don't screw it up. Don't
Yeah.
don't go trying to tweak footwork that doesn't need touched. Don't go trying to tweak like he has strength, power. If you build an offensive left tackle in a lab, it's that guy.
That guy. Yep. And we
And
got
one
that
of
guy.
those kind of like hidden talents, or just something that I've noticed after watching tape and stuff before the draft, and even just with training camp, is like he's got some of those simple nuances that vets use. It's timing and throwing his hands at different times and different angles and heights, and not giving people the same type of target all the time. And it's like Omeni, who says, with grabbing wrists and stuff, like this stuff isn't usually learned right away. Like
Yeah. This is
he's
advanced
he's
Takes
stuff.
time usually.
got some of those vet moves already, and it's fun to watch right now. It's as an offensive line coach, it is fun to watch.
Yeah.
Well,
This
and
is
and for anybody that's not aware, Nate Taylor is now of ESPN. Shout out
Mhm.
Nate, congrats again. I don't know if we talked about that on the show or not, but Nate got the upgrade from the Athletic to ESPN, and I do mean upgrade with where the Athletic has gone. Um, but he's like, it's over. There's no rotation. There's no
yeah, they're not rotating
splitting
anymore.
rep.
No.
There's no. There's
Now the
no
battle is for the
done.
other tackle side.
Yeah.
No, I don't even really think it is. Your right tackle is Jawan Taylor. I know everybody is clamoring because everybody hates Jawan Taylor and they want the new guy, the new shiny sparkly thing. But Jalen Moore provides you a universal swing offensive lineman because he appears to be able to play both tackle
Yeah, he's
spots and the
getting
guard
reps
spot,
at
and
left
having
guard
him as
too.
your
Yeah.
sixth line, that's not a bad thing to have as a backup
Right.
to where you can go, okay, I can play him at right tackle if Jawan's having a problem. I can play him at left tackle, God forbid something happens to Josh Simmons. I can play him at left guard if something happens to Kingsley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to
Or
have
Kingsley doesn't.
the moronical flopping heads that are going to complain about the contract that we gave. And I was like, we didn't have Simmons at the time. We didn't know that was going to happen.
No.
So yeah, so you pay
And
him a decent free agent contract. And I was like, you know
and you
what?
play him
He's
next
going to
year
be
at
your
right tackle because you're
yeah,
not playing Jawan Taylor at right tackle next year. You play
exactly.
him at right tackle next year.
So
And maybe Jawan has something happen or something goes weird and he ends up playing right tackle for the rest of this year. But for
Yeah.
as far as
good
Josh
problem.
Simmons is concerned, to quote Nate, they were talking about him as a hopeful, and now they're talking about him as a certainty around the building with Josh Simmons. It's something that if you're a fan of this team, you should be overjoyed about
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because they've been searching and band-aiding and patchworking, and it's different than the Kingsley stuff because Kingsley last year got all the reps and got all the stuff and got the original few starts because Wanye was hurt and never got unhurt, in case anybody forgot.
Mm-hmm.
That knee bothered him all season.
Yeah.
This isn't, oh, he's got it by default. No, he walked in and he took it.
Mm-hmm.
And his rehab work, Randy said it, he's way ahead of schedule. He was way ahead of schedule because he worked his ass off in the offseason. It's been talked about, documented, discussed by everybody that's around the team and the team themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a young kid, and he is a young kid, with that kind of dedication, that kind of focus, that kind of head screwed on straight already, you're talking about your left tackle for the next decade
Right.
Yep.
because you
And
don't let those guys go once you have them.
And the talks about character concerns and whatnot that kind of came out during
I
the
would love to know
too.
that anonymous fucking source on
That was
that
some good
nonsense.
defamation to get him to
From
the Chiefs. I
everything
tell you
that
what, get that stock to drop.
every interview that I've seen with this kid, or anything that I've read, or any comments by coaches or other players, like there is no sniff of any kind of character issue whatsoever. So
He seems like the man. Yeah,
He
he
was
seems.
running scout team defensive end, and Travis Kelce was like, "Please don't touch me."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna continue to be the main story out of camp for the Chiefs, especially with just all the problems that we had last year with that position. To have a guy, I mean, just absolute stud the day he walks in, no questions
tell you
asked.
what,
It's
Kingsley
pretty
hadn't looked
proud.
bad at left guard either.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, look at Kingsley and the people who kind of compare him to Kingsley, we got to remember Josh Simmons is a way better prospect than Kingsley was. We were very
Correct.
high on Kingsley, and he was, we still like Kingsley, and we're very hopeful for him. But we're talking,
He played at BYU, not Ohio State.
BYU, yeah, exactly. And we're talking about a guy who could have been a top 10 pick in Josh Simmons versus a guy who was maybe going to be a late
60s.
first rounder, but really he's a.
But the crazy thing is too now is that we liked Kingsley and he has the ability, or we thought he had the ability to play left tackle.
Had the tools.
He
has the tools.
High level. To have that type of physical profile and athletic ability to step inside and play next to Creed and by Simmons now, like those are two really big, super strong, athletic guys on the left side. Like that has the potential to be a formidable.
Randy, Mr. Offensive Line Coach, what does that do for a run game when your offensive line goes Josh Simmons, profile of Kingsley, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith? You can skip right tackle. We don't even need to bother running that direction. I could care less if Jawan Taylor could block his way out of a paper bag in the run game. If you can pass block Jawan, knock yourself out.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want to do. And overall, like it's really going to help guys like Pop who are athletic. He's got burst. He runs hard. Doesn't have great vision. He's going to have some bigger holes and creases and stuff to run through now. And I think with the ability that Kingsley will add to pull and get in space too. I mean, to get a guy like Pop out in space on the perimeter and off the edge, to let him use that speed, we all know he doesn't have great vision. He just likes to run really hard into a pile and see what happens.
Yeah.
If we can get him in space and get him a crease, so there could be some really good things. Like we could actually maybe see that 4.37 speed come into play and maybe take one to the house finally. Because I've been waiting for that one.
I feel bad for Pacheco a little bit. We talk about him not having great vision, and he doesn't. But part of that is, hey guys, where did he play college ball?
Yeah, Rutgers is not a powerhouse of a run game.
Hey, I don't know if you know this or not, but every snap he got the ball, he had to run into the pile because that's all there was.
Yeah.
There weren't running lanes. There weren't holes. There were 12 bodies. Well, crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope getting to work with Kareem and watch Kareem.
Yeah.
But getting to work with and watch Kareem Hunt find holes, I hope that rubs off a little.
He's always been
because Kareem has really good vision.
He's always been just so sneaky. Like it's the most subtle of movements and cuts and a squirm and hit a hole sideways and then he's flush and he's parallel. It's been one of his great gifts and talents. Is he's just one of those sneaky guys that you just don't see it coming.
Well, and it's going to help with the screen game. The offensive line will.
Yeah.
So the screen game vanished. For the large part.
So did the run game in general.
Right, but that's partially because Andy Reid's run game involves the screen game. He uses the short running back passing game as a running game in a lot of areas. It's a West Coast offense philosophy for the most part.
I mean, yeah,
he's not the only one that does that.
He's been since Brian Westbrook.
So when you take away because you didn't have guys on the offensive line that could move like that, you're not going to get the screen game. And so people are like, why are the screens getting blown up? Well, you have statues in some instances as offensive linemen in some of these cases.
Orlando Brown
is not going to work very well.
Screen type offensive lineman.
Donovan Smith isn't getting out in space, guys.
Yeah.
Juwan's not great in the screen game.
I love Joe Tooney. He wasn't a super athlete. He's a technician.
No.
There are things that you're going to see come out of this playbook that you're like, I haven't seen that in 4 years. Yeah, you're right.
Please feed them to me.
I know this wasn't Andy Reid era, but if we could get back to having some kind of screen game like we had with Priest and Jamal, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That.
If we can get any kind of look of what Jamal Charles is doing back in today's offense, that'd be great. I'll tell you what, that'd be great.
Right? Yeah, there's that sneaky guy we got.
Rashard Smith, sneaky. We'll see. But offensive line, obviously, that's going to be a big position to monitor for the rest of camp and going forward. A couple other position battles we want to
talk about what we're actually supposed to talk about on this episode now, Garrett, since we spent 35 minutes on stuff we weren't going to.
Talking about Chiefs training camp, that is the main topic of Chiefs training camp.
Trying to segue right into where we were supposed to.
That is kind of the one thing. If there's one thing I want to know is if the offensive line is good this year or not. So, hey, It's looking pretty good so far.
We
But
are looking promising, and we are ahead of where we were last year, I think.
yeah, so let's talk about a
Without
couple other
question.
positions real quick here. Wide receiver has been a bit of a point of contention this offseason so far. Obviously, there's a lot of names in that room, a lot of names that are already pretty much locked in. If you really
There's some intriguing things happening here in the wide receiver room, which I am probably more excited about this wide receiver room than I have been in our franchise, and I can't remember.
been a while since the floor of
3
the wide
years.
receiver room has been
I mean,
this
it's
good.
I
With the
I can tell you exactly how long it's been. It's been 3 seasons.
yeah.
But I mean, we have four guys. I mean, I think the top four are probably cemented in, and then it's just like this grab bag of what could possibly be.
Yeah, it's really like five,
Top
even maybe
5.
even six.
Nico with I'll give Nico
I
that.
was
I'm not
actually
even talking about
Nico's
Nico.
not even
Nico is the
in
6th.
in my head. I'll leave it this. I think there's already 6 wide receivers locked into the positions, and we'll go through them here real quick because we talk about the how good this wide receiver room could be and how exciting it is. The floor of this receiver room is higher than almost anything we've seen in the Mahomes era. We've got
Higher than the
Xavier
ceiling
Worthy.
the last 2 years?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd
you've got
agree.
Xavier Worthy, Rasheed Rice, Hollywood Brown, who are your main 3, obviously.
Juju's the leader
Juju,
in there,
yeah.
according to Andy. Yeah.
No, yeah, Juju is gonna be
Yes.
for Andy Reid, the leader of the clubhouse. Basically, he
Ancient
is the
Juju
vet. Yeah,
Smith-Schuster,
He's what,
28-year-old
29 years
ancient
old,
Juju
28.
Smith-Schuster. Yeah.
yeah,
Everybody
exactly. And he's
talks to him
still
like he's some gray bush, like he's 40 years old.
He's
But
been in
no,
the
yeah.
league for what feels like my whole life, so
Well,
I
I'm pretty sure he
understand
was
it a little
drafted
bit.
when he
But
was like 20 years old. So I mean,
Right.
he's
yeah,
been in
he's
the
been
league
in the
for a
league for like
long
9
time.
years now.
So and to be fair, I mean, he's still got a lot of good ball left. I mean, there were some flashes last year where it's like, man, this Juju's still here. He still got it, And
Hey Garrett, what does he do? What does he do really well? That's a
line up,
requirement for Chiefs wide receivers.
rub routes.
rub
Well,
routes. Yeah,
that's one thing.
that's a good one. He knows where to
He
line up. He
blocks.
knows how to catch it. Yeah, he
Lines
knows how
up
to block.
correctly.
I mean, he does.
He
Juju's a
blocks.
very complete wide receiver.
He blocks downfield
He's a
for
very good
running backs.
veteran wide receiver to
Yeah.
have in your room. You can teach the young guys.
There's
You
a
can really
lot
get
of
them
young
on the right
dudes.
path.
There's a lot of young guys in there.
Yeah, so that's your top 4, and then obviously you have Jalen Royals, the rookie, he's going to be a lock to make the roster. So that's 5, and
That kid is exciting.
on the Jalen Royals point, yeah, he's been looking pretty impressive too. I'm not sure, the conversation in the past, well, since Andy Reid's been here, is the fact that he hasn't really used rookie wide receivers that much, but that also philosophy has kind of changed the past 2 years with Rasheed Rice and Xavier Worthy having now. Obviously, last year with Xavier is kind of more out of necessity, but either way, I think there's precedent to be set that they're using. Andy's more inclined to use some of these rookie wide receivers a little bit earlier on in the process, especially if they're ready. Especially if they're proven to be ready.
Rasheed Rice was also out of blatant, flat out necessity.
I mean, it was
His
kind of out of
rookie year.
necessity too. Yeah, you're right. It was.
I mean,
wasn't a lot of other. I mean,
guys, the wide receiver room has been made up of cab drivers and podcast hosts for 2 seasons.
a little bit.
And want to be
So
right.
that's your starting 5 essentially.
and they've
at
been to
receiver
Super
right
Bowls.
there. Are those 5, and then you have all the other names who, there's a lot of
2 more names.
There's 2 more main names, and there's a lot of other fun guys, but the 2 other main ones are going to be Nico Remigio and Tyquan Thornton. So at this point in my head, I think Nico is already a lock to make the roster. If you listen to Dave Tobe,
with the return game, I think Nico's in.
Yeah, he's the main punt returner, kick returner in the field. He's been doing great at that per Dave Tobe. Even on the offensive side, he's been probably getting a little bit better. But the main thing, wide receiver 6, wide receiver 7, you're looking at is special teams. And so with Nico basically locking down that job, it's safe to say he's going to be on the team. So then it just leaves wide receiver 7, which Tyquan Thornton has been the main guy getting a lot of hype. And I know Nate Taylor has been really high on him and said that he's basically a lock to make the roster already as well. I'm not sure if that's as Kyle disappears.
I really do get tired of this.
I'm gonna turn this light on. It's getting dark.
Garrett, you mentioned Dave Tobe talking about Nico Remigio. What did Dave Tobe say about Tyquan Thornton?
I must have missed it. What did he say about Tyquan Thornton?
He's a gunner.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what? Dave Tobe said he was a gunner. Guess what that means for Tyquan Thornton?
He's on the roster.
He's probably gonna make the roster. Yeah.
Correct,
The
Randy.
Chiefs employed Marcus Kemp for
And
many,
you know
many
what?
years
It's going to be
just
like
to be a gunner.
It's going to be like Christmas for me. Not seeing Sky Moore on this roster this year.
Yeah, it seems like it's pretty guarantee at this point that Sky Moore won't be on the roster.
And just the other day again, working on punt returns, muffing punt returns. Like
Yeah, that one tweet where it's the 4 different guys in the lineup and he's the only one who muffed it. Yeah, it's tough. That's
like
tough
at,
work.
at some point you got to stop giving this kid opportunities and just move on.
Yes. Like,
That is
there's
true. Now,
eventually
there's been
a cut bait section. Now, there's been way too much hatred, in my opinion, and some of the discourse on the internet, of course, has gone absolutely off the rails. But on that same note, you were able to be a part of the roster the last 2 years because the rest of the wide receiver room was frankly horrendous outside of 1 or 2 players. That's no longer the case, and this league is the NFL, and it's called not for long. You're always able to be replaced. You've had opportunities, lots of them.
Yeah, especially it's really tough
And-
when like you said, the past couple years the wide receiver room has been absolutely horrendous, and he still hasn't gotten an opportunity to step
Nothing.
up and prove himself.
Oh no, he's
so
had opportunities. He just couldn't do anything with them.
well,
And
yeah,
that's
exactly.
the
He
issue.
hasn't taken that opportunity, and
So-
they actually showed that he's a valuable NFL receiver. So
Never
it's-
one to root against guys, but that ship seems to have sailed.
Yeah, and also I think people are a little unfair to him. Obviously, the football player is one thing, but I think another reason why he stayed on the team so long is because of his personality and how good of a guy he is in that sense. Which is great. It's great to have a good locker room guy, good glue guy, friends with everybody. But at this point, that ship has sailed. Yeah, that ship has sailed.
Enjoy the practice squad.
I don't know if I don't think they're gonna. They're probably just cut ties with them completely. I feel like I doubt they even.
They
put
might.
him on the practice
I
squad.
also know that Andy's loyal and loves to give second chances. So
Yeah, but I just feel like usually,
don't
I
rule
feel like
out practice squad.
most situations, if a guy has been on your active roster for the past 3 years, caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl, I mean, it's obviously they're kind of, fake accolades, but it's like I doubt he's just going to send him to the practice squad after that.
He did catch that ball. He actually caught it.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, he's wide open.
I know there was nobody within 15 yards and they were
Yeah.
in the wrong formation, but he did catch it.
I was there. I saw it.
Yeah, so Sky, shout out Sky, but he won't be on the team for very much longer.
No,
A couple other names in that wide receiver room, the Jason Brownlee's been getting some look.
Ooh.
He's a guy I can see who can probably make the
The
practice
Badger
squad.
kid looks good at
Yeah, I was about to say,
flashes, but he's going to end up being a practice squad guy.
yeah, he'll be another guy who.
Hey,
Kyle's back. So yeah, there's a couple other fun names in the wide receiver room, and that deeper part, and we're going to see a lot of them during the preseason to see who kind of shapes out those.
Signed, like 2 days ago, Lassiter.
Yeah, we signed
No,
the UFL guy, Kwame.
he did not get signed.
He
didn't
did
get
not.
signed?
That was not a real. It was bad information from a UFL account.
Oh,
Fake
A lot of
news.
reporters
Dang.
thought it was real. It was not.
okay.
Matt Derrick was beating himself up over it. That is not Matt Derrick's fault.
All
I
right.
love Matt. He does great work. You're gonna occasionally get bad intel. It happens. Kwame did not get signed. He had a tryout. He
Yeah,
did
tryout.
not end up getting signed.
Okay.
The wide receiver they did sign was Keyshawn something.
Keyshawn Smith, I think, is his
That-
name. Yeah.
Something like that.
Just another
Um,
random camp body. The Chiefs the past couple of days have had a couple injuries in the wide receiver room. Nothing major. It seemed like Xavier Worthy went down, which they thought was a concussion, but I think they determined it wasn't actually a concussion that he had. It was an
According
ear
to Andy
injury.
Reid, not a concussion.
Yeah, I think it was an ear injury. Is what
I mean,
they said.
He went up and landed, and his head hit the ground. I don't know. You do with that whatever you will.
Apparently, it was a concussion.
but-
so. Also, Hollywood Brown
Keyshawn
had
Smith
went off.
is correct.
Yeah, Hollywood Brown had left practice early a couple days ago from some minor thing. I think he's already back, or at least he'll probably be back pretty soon. So Chiefs kind
He
of
did
a couple
not practice today.
random wide receivers to fill those spots, but ultimately the wide receiver room is pretty set, barring. Yeah, it'll just be interesting to see if they do end up keeping a wide receiver 7 in Tyquan Thornton, and then you also have to consider if Rashee Rice does start the season suspended, then that's an extra slot for somebody. So
It is a young, explosive, fast, exciting room with a lot of potential, and it's for as down as we have been on our wide receivers the past few years, just to have some new blood and an optimistic feel about that position group is just a kind of a breath of fresh air.
it is very nice. I agree.
To quickly touch both of these, Hollywood did not practice today. Sky Moore also did not practice today, which is not great if you're trying to make a team.
Right.
Xavier Worthy did not have a concussion. He had some liquid in his inner ear affecting his equilibrium. So he was cleared of a concussion, and that's not it. Unfortunate news for the day is Drew Tranquil seemed to have strained his back towards the end of practice and did leave in the front of the cart.
In the front of the cart.
On his way up. Now, granted, if you're not familiar with Chiefs training camp, in order to leave the practice field, it's like a 3-mile walk. So they usually ride a cart.
Uphill too, is it?
Yeah,
uphill.
So that's why if you're front of cart, back of cart matters.
Yeah, and the linebacker crew. I mean, we have a little bit of extra juice in that area as well. Like, Mr. Bossa's been looking.
Yeah, I saw Bossa got a big pick today in camp. Yeah,
that was a sneaky, sly little fake
right?
to the flat jump. Like that was well done.
Yeah. So I mean,
also nobody's really talked about, but
a leader like Drew.
Who's the Cooper kid? What's Cooper's last name? Is it McDonald? They have a linebacker in camp whose first name is Cooper. I'm nearly positive, and he's been, from all accounts, playing pretty well for I think, undrafted free agent in that category.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been, look, you don't want Drew down. That's not what you want.
Nope.
However, it's early. It's camp. Back injuries are.
But it will be interesting to see
finicky,
how the linebacker room works out. There's always a couple extra. It always seems special teams linebackers is always going to be one, maybe two that they keep on the roster. So there's definitely some spots to be had. Maybe 4 or 5, probably 5 linebackers are going to end up making the roster.
Cooper McDonald, you are correct.
Cooper McDonald. Great pull from Kyle. One last position group we should talk about is the defensive back room. That's another one that has a lot of names, a lot of new names, a lot of names that are, someone might be the odd man out in that room. Especially, the cornerback room specifically is an interesting one. Chiefs signed Christian Fulton this offseason to essentially be their, kind of be their number 2 corner in a sense, maybe number 3 guy, or have him be an outside guy along with Jalen Watson and have Trent inside. Christian Fulton hasn't practiced yet, if I'm being correct.
He's on the pup list.
Yeah, he is not. He's been dealing with a knee injury, I believe, that has
had
him out for
surgery in the off season for some cleanup that we didn't find out about publicly until like a week ago.
Yeah, so that makes things a little interesting, especially with camp rotations of the different DBs getting looks. They've been running Trent inside and out, rotating a bunch of different guys in there and seeing, just who is the best fit. You have the rookie in Noel Williams that you drafted. You still got some young guys like Christian Roland Wallace, who's been really impressive during camp so far. I think he's a pretty good lock to make the to make the team.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see.
Steve Spagnuolo can't quit Najee Johnson no matter what. That
seems like they are pretty
and Najee's
in love with Najee.
And Najee has played better this camp. And he's actually healthy, and we haven't seen him on an injury list.
It just all depends on the role they put him in. If you put him in a safety role, he's fine. If you put him 1-on-1 as a corner outside, I don't know. He's
been fine in camp and coverage from everything I've seen, clip wise and discussion wise. It's going to be interesting because this room, Spags doesn't treat, other than like Trent and Jalen, Spags doesn't treat the cornerbacks and the safeties as separate groups much. Yeah, they're just merged. DBs.
Yeah.
And so I will be very interested to see exactly how your starting safeties are locked up for the most part. It's Hicks.
Jaden Hicks, you got Brian Cook. Yeah.
Now, they've been moving Hicks down into that slot coverage blitz spot role. Him
and Connor have been doing a lot of that.
Couple, I could go forever and a day without seeing Shamari Connor in the slot trying to cover one-on-one. You want to talk about Nazi? Shamari is worse in man coverage than Nazi is right now.
As well. Yeah.
I like Shamari a lot. I think he's a nice third safety. I don't think you should ever put him in man coverage in the slot. But that's another guy. Like there's a lot of return players in that secondary that have been here that are established players on this roster. So if you're a young guy or a new guy, and they signed 2 new corners today after they sent Eric Scott and Darius Rush to the waived injured list, you have to come in and take a job.
Yeah.
There's not a job available in this secondary. Now, Christian Fulton, Steve Spagnuolo said in the press conference the other day, I mean, he's going to need to come back and start to integrate because this defense isn't something you can just do. You're going to have to learn all of the new. And Fulton's been down at the field. He's been watching, and he's been learning watching. There's a difference between watching and doing. And I was intrigued with the Christian Fulton signing in the offseason because he's not a Spags corner. And what I say by that is, at least in LA, they play off-man coverage. You do not play off-man coverage in Steve Spagnuolo's defense.
Yeah, not really.
Like, ever. So, he's going to need to get, back where he's comfortable with himself physically because it's a knee injury, and he had to have cleanup done. And speaking from someone who's had a knee injury, takes a little while to get some trust built back up into that thing that it's not just going to go, hey, and leave all of a sudden randomly when you, like, turn weird. Yeah. And I wasn't running at full speed trying to keep up with NFL wide receivers.
Right. You look at Jalen Watson last year, too, who had a similar thing where he had
it takes a little time.
You know, he didn't quite look back to form after he returned, you know, so it's just takes time.
So
it takes some time.
The Christian Fulton thing, I really hope it works out. I'm not willing to put eggs in that basket. Not all of them, anyway. And so this leaves you with, okay, what do you do with Josh Williams?
That seems to be the odd man out. That seems to be
what do you do with Noel Williams? What do you do with Nazi Johnson? What do you do? Like, it's pretty much Trent and Jalen, and you know what you have.
Yeah.
And then it's what do you do here? Mm-hmm. And you've gotten a lot of really good, really solid reps from Josh Williams over the last couple of years. Now, he's made some what the F moves, plays, that does happen.
Yeah.
But it's usually because he's too aggressive.
Oh, no, mine's back.
Am I freezing? Are you guys freezing? What the hell?
Yeah, you froze for like a half second. Now you're good. Yeah.
I know it because I watched YouTube freeze in mid-motion. So you usually when Spags has a corner that gives up some weird stuff, but it's because he's being too aggressive, he doesn't mind as much.
He's kind of fine with that, yeah.
So it's been an odd dichotomy with him and his love-hate relationship with his third corner for the most part of the last 2 years. I don't know that the reason I bring Josh Williams up is because like that's probably who you were trying to upgrade over with Christian Fulton.
Yeah.
But you can't be certain right now that Christian Fulton's ready to go to do that job by, what, week 3? Week 4?
Yeah, I think there's some cautious optimism for sure, but it does seem, especially if you look at some of the rotations.
Nate Taylor did say he's supposed to be back probably, I would assume, at the beginning of this coming week.
Yeah,
but
I think once you get some reps, I think he has a lot of starting experience in the league. Christian Fulton, it's one of those things. I mean, obviously you want to test yourself with the injury and make sure everything's good on that front, but he at least has some.
I'm not a big fan of ejecting. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of ejecting on a guy that you know that you can put out there if you absolutely have to. That's going to be able to play competent football in your system. To get a 7th round draft pick or a 6th round draft pick in a year or two.
You also got to remember last year with all the injuries that they were having, it didn't seem like they really wanted to run Josh Williams out there as their. I mean,
I know that's why I said it was an odd. It's been an odd relationship.
They were running Nazi Johnson out there more and Christian Roland Wallace out there more than they were.
Then got hurt.
That drove me nuts.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. If you look at some of the rotations that they've been using in the first team and the second team. Defensive back rotations. Josh Williams ain't even really getting a lot of second team looks, and definitely not many first team looks. So
It's very
you know,
odd. It's
you've
very
got.
odd.
I think. I think at this point you've kind of established where it's like, ideally you have Trent in the slot, obviously, and then I think the backup slot defender is going to be Christian Roland Wallace. He seems to have almost certainly taken that role. So you're just looking at your outside corners. You have Jalen Watson, Christian Fulton. You have Noel Williams. And then it's that last position that's like, well, could it be Josh Williams? Is it going to be Nazi? Is it going to be, who's it going to be? You still have Shamari Connor, who I think they technically sometimes label as a corner, so I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of names in that defensive back room, and you also got to remember, Jalen Watson, Josh Williams, Trent McDuffie are all on contract years. Like this is the last year of these guys' deals, so you can't pay them all. And theoretically, if you want to get some kind of return back for these guys,
Trent has a 5th-year option that they've already picked up for next year.
Yeah.
True, Trent. That's true. That's actually true.
Yeah. The other two are at the end of their 4-year deal.
Yeah, but they're all part of that same draft class. And if you want to get any kind of return from them, this.
I didn't want anybody panicking because they thought Trent was a full-blown free agent next year, and he's not.
Right?
So
yeah. No, that's right. Yeah, they have the 5th-year
option.
But
Jalen Watson's been kind of this weird, wild card. Coming out of the 7th round, and he comes in and he kind of lights the world on fire there for a little bit, and he's kind of solidified himself. Like, I'm curious on when it is contract negotiations, like what his market value is going to be like.
That will be very interesting to see, yeah, because especially with the injury last year, that kind of takes a little bit away from what you might get on the open market. But
who was a 7th-round pick at corner that came in and took over a job? Anybody got any memories on who that might have been in the last 4 or 5 years?
7th-round corner that came in.
I remember Charvarius Ward, who's an undrafted.
Hey,
we traded for him though.
Yes, but it was a 7th-round pick that I think we traded for him.
Was he a 7th? I thought he was a UDFA. Charv.
No, I think the pick we gave up was a 7th-round pick, Garrett. That was my 7th-round pick.
We traded
traded an old lineman for him.
We traded Parker Anger. Remember that?
Yeah, Parker Anger. That's right. And I swore Sharp was a 7th for the Cowboys.
Hey, you talk about strong arm and Jerry Jones. I tell you what, we traded a backup lineman that would have never seen the field anyways and was going to get cut, and we got a starting corner for the couple years. That was pretty good.
And then what was his market? The Niners paid him out their nose.
They had pretty good
and
market.
So,
he did have 4 full healthy years.
But also, I think
corners are expensive.
Was a little bit more productive than Jalen's has been.
And also,
he's healthier. He was healthier.
Char was also like our number 1 corner for most of that time. Legarius came in at the end there, and
as you say, I think that says more about the cornerback room at the time than it does.
Yeah, it wasn't a great cornerback room, but either way, it will be interesting to see. Hopefully, Jalen Watson.
Just something to keep in mind when you're talking about Jalen Watson's market. If he has a good year this year,
he's going to get outpriced.
Corners are hard to find in this league, and especially if you had 2 really good years out of 3.
You just paid Christian Fulton a 2-year contract, so it's
2 for 15.
It's like 2-15. So it's could they get a deal done with Jalen Watson maybe, but he's probably going to be one of his last years. So that's the same. If you're really confident about the other guys in the room, maybe you'd look at a Jalen Watson trade sometime through the season. I don't know. I don't think we should be trading away.
No,
we don't need a repeat of last year where we have not enough corners in the room.
Yeah.
So, but early on, it does look like the floor is already a lot higher, and barring any significant injuries, I think we have a better group than we had last season.
There's more confidence in them from the coaching staff, it appears.
Yeah.
And the Noel Williams one, he's been the guy that I'm most curious about since draft day. Like, I pretty much assumed Josh Simmons was going to be just fine once he got healthy. I didn't know when he was going to necessarily be healthy, but once he got going, I wasn't terribly concerned about his talent level because I've watched him a fair amount when he was in college, and provided he was healthy, I wasn't too worried. The defensive lineman, the biggest question there was like, Gelati didn't play a ton of snaps, or was it Norman Lott? Norman Lott didn't play a ton of snaps at Tennessee. But other than that, like, there's not a lot. Noel Williams, with, as you mentioned, the 2 guys that are on expiring contracts, and I think Nazi was also in that group, so there's 3 of them now that are in that same.
Yeah, I think Nazi's like been re-signed. I think he was on the practice squad, and then they had to re-sign him. So I think he's on a different
Regardless,
But either way, I think he's
there's
probably only on
3
like a
guys
1 or
from
2 year
that
deal.
same draft class that are running up on the ends of their deals, and you're gonna have to pay Trent. You need a guy like Noel Williams to come in and start, even as a rookie, start staking a claim to reps, start making
Yeah,
progress to being a key contributor. And Christian Fulton's fine, and that's nice, but he's on a 2-year deal.
Yeah, and
That's
another
not
thing
a
we have to
future.
kind
And
of take into account as well is like, so everyone knows that Spag's defense is not vanilla by any stretch of the imagination. There's a lot of things to learn, and you have a lot of responsibilities. This DB room is stupid young.
yeah.
I mean,
There's not really any vets.
most of these guys are in their fourth year, fourth year in the
Trent
league.
is like the vet in the room. Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
all
Like,
those
so I
guys.
mean, so they're probably just getting to the point where
Christian
like
Fulton.
they're
Christian Fulton's the most tenured corner or most tenured DB in
he's
the
the
room, and he's
oldest
the
dude
newest
in the
guy to the
room. Yeah.
team.
And so like they're really just kind of getting to a point now, being third year in the system. I mean, because they're coming into year 4 now, right? Yeah, year 4, and they're just kind of should be now kind of hitting
Christian
their
Fulton actually
stride,
same
like
draft
knowing
class
all
as
the
those guys.
nuances, and like they should all be on the same page now. So they've played a ton as young DBs, and I mean, for the most part, they've played pretty well. So I
Yeah.
mean, you just never kind of know like what jump is some of these guys going to make in year 3, year 4, to where you're not you don't have the jitters anymore. You're not the young kid. Like, there's some expectations now, and you got a lot of snaps under your belt, and you should be a little more comfortable. You should be able to play fast and think less, and maybe do some things. So
Especially with Jalen. Trent did that from Jump Street, but we pretty much
Trent's
all
different.
expected that with Trent.
Trent's
He
different.
came from Washington.
Yep.
He was a
They
dog from the
produced
start.
elite
Yeah.
corners. He was an elite corner in college. He transferred immediately to the NFL.
Yep.
Jalen Watson, as we mentioned, 7th round pick. You don't have to. You're not worried anymore.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
shouldn't be
Josh
looking
Williams,
over your shoulder at this point.
fourth rounder, fifth round.
Yeah, fourth.
And
Fourth.
he didn't play at a super high level either. I mean, so he was kind of one of those.
Najee Johnson was a small
farming
school
guys.
kid at SMU or whatever it was.
Marshall, I
I
believe.
can't remember where Marshall,
So
SMU,
the
something,
production that we've
one of
got
those.
out of some of these really young guys from not fantastic programs, or not like highly touted dudes, like
Dave Merritt,
That's why
ladies and gentlemen.
exactly.
I'm pretty confident
Like
in Noel Williams.
our scouting personnel is fantastic when it comes to scouting.
Noel is it Cal?
Cal. Yeah.
Yep. And he was one of those sneaky guys that I mean, I didn't even spend a ton of time on him in the draft process.
All skills.
Like, we drafted
All
him.
skills.
I knew who he was. I was like, yeah, he's a bit of a ball hawk, but I was like, he was never a guy that was ever on my radar for somebody we were going to.
Yeah, it's because he wasn't south of the Mason-Dixon line, Randy.
Yeah, right. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I had to do some homework on him after we drafted him. But the more you watch and the more you learn about him, like, the kid's got some talent. Like,
if there's anyone I trust in figuring it out.
What's going to pop out of that kid, so you never know.
Yeah, with the track record that Steve Spagnuolo and that defensive coaching staff has with later round draft picks in the cornerback department, I think he's going to work out pretty good. I have a lot of confidence in him and the rest of the coaching staff to get everything they can out of that kid. Mm-hmm. So should be interesting. Should be interesting to see. I'm very excited for the first preseason game, which will be next week, I believe. I think next week is the first preseason game. Should be more prepared and see who they're playing. I think they're playing the Cardinals. Yeah, they're coming out to my neck of the woods in Arizona, playing the Cardinals. Saturday, August 9th, 5 p.m. So we'll actually see some of these guys in a live action setting, which would be nice. I'm sure we'll also have a couple more nice padded practice days and whatnot in St. Joe. So
you will not see some of them in that game.
You might see some of those
just
guys.
Go ahead.
Yeah. You're saying Patrick?
You will not
see Patrick Mahomes? You sure?
For like
see him, but
4 seconds.
Chris Jones ain't gonna be out there. I'll tell you.
He's not gonna be playing. You might see.
No, and Andy has his routines. They'll play us a drive, maybe.
I
Maybe
don't
a
even
whole
know if they
drive.
get that.
Maybe.
They might give Pat one
And
pass,
maybe
one completion, and say, "All right, we're
like
good."
I said,
Well,
it may
series,
no, they'll play a drive, but it may be run, dump off on third down, punt. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like,
you're
all right,
so.
come on in,
And
Gardner.
on the defense, you may see Chris Jones for 2 snaps. I'd kind of be surprised.
I'd be
It's
surprised
usually
as well. Yeah.
the second preseason game they'll load up on the actual starters playing to get them in conditioning shape. It's a little different
one
because
quarter. Yeah.
they don't have 4. They don't have 4 preseason games anymore. They have 3, so
Only 3?
it alters it a little bit. But I
Mostly just trying
look
to see those young guys.
that's
Yeah.
exactly this. If you're wanting to watch players, you're going to be watching for roster spots 45 through 53
Yeah. And practice
because the
spots.
other part of this roster is set. Like
Pretty
there's
set.
not going to be
Yeah, there's really
a
only like
lot of
4
open
or 5
room.
spots total that might be up for grabs. Like,
There's
which is a
not
good problem to
much.
have.
There's
That is a
not
good
much.
problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it's 100% a good problem to have, but and the other part is they get more out of training camp than they do out of these preseason games.
Yeah.
The way Andy runs things, the way Andy does things, it's the most efficient. It's the most efficient because it has to be because he still runs an old school camp in a new school rule setting, and they don't play around. They don't have wasted motion and movements. There's not 4 hours of stretching for 5 seconds of practice to do walkthroughs and shell. Like,
Yeah. Very
there's
efficient.
none of that. They're going
Very,
to
very
get you
efficient.
ready to play, and it's going to be during camp. And then when you go out to these preseason games, they're just working on stuff. Spags may run the same defense 47 plays in a row in Arizona just to see what different guys do in the same defensive setup.
Right.
It's not.
Or you might see some real
Don't
exotic stuff, and they're really trying to test the young
that
guys.
too, or he's throwing
Yeah.
just random out there to see what people have no clue how to handle. Now,
Yeah.
but don't do the whole. Oh, we saw this receiver I've never heard of except until today catch 12 passes from Gardner Minshew. He's on the roster. Probably not.
No. Yeah. Probably not. You're right.
So, just we talk about it every year. Set proper expectations.
That's true.
Chiefs Kingdom, I love you all, but you guys suck at that. It's one of the
That's
things
also
you're
kind
the
of what
worst
makes this great.
at.
You know, it almost just makes us. It almost makes it better. You know. Hey, we're
Yes,
just,
if delusionality makes us better, that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
we're just-
but we
hopelessly
do.
optimistic about every
there
player
are-
that
there
ever
is-
comes.
there is stuff like every year where I just sit there and I'm reading some of the commentary from people and I'm like, are you guys new?
Who was that
Is
one
this-
wide
is
receiver
this-
a couple years ago? They remember that one white wide receiver, Cody Thompson? Was that his name? Do you remember him? Or
Yeah,
something like that?
dude, he caught
He was like the next. He was the next Hunter Renfro. He was the next Julian Edelman, and he had.
and then he was not in the
lighted up.
league.
I think I saw him in
next
the UFL a
month.
couple months ago. Yeah, I think I saw
I was
him.
gonna
out there
say
balling.
he wasn't
Yeah.
in the league next month. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just everybody enjoy it, but take a breath. Most of this roster is already locked and done.
Yeah.
There are guys. Most of this roster is getting in shape and getting ready for the season, not fighting for jobs.
Yeah.
That's why I said what I said about the DB
7
room.
guys that are probably fighting for spots, but
Like 4 spots or 5
Yeah,
spots, and there's 50 people fighting for those 5 spots. And like, that's why I said what I said about the cornerback or the DB rooms. You're going to have to take someone's job. There aren't any jobs available. You're going to have to take it. So if you want it, you're going to have to absolutely, and it's probably not going to be in the preseason games where you take it. It's going to be during camp.
Yeah.
Because you're going to, and so, set proper expectations, enjoy the ride, but don't expect random dudes who you recognize in a preseason game to just be, oh, they're on the roster now. That's not going to happen, most likely.
Yeah.
So, but there are names that are definitely important to watch, and we talked about a lot of them. Noel Williams, Jeffrey Bassa, Cooper McDonald, Tyquan Thornton, Brashard Smith.
What are they gonna do?
Nobody said a word about Carson Steele. I don't even know if he's in camp at this point.
He's been getting like
Right now,
15.
he's on like number 2 on the kick return list right now.
He has
Oh, I
been
know,
getting
but
kick
nobody
returns.
has said a
Yeah.
word. Like
No,
nobody
he's also
said a
been getting, like,
word about Carson
15
Steele
running
this
back
year.
reps.
Remember, he was the darling of the entire Chiefs training camp last year,
Yeah.
and nobody has said boo about him all year.
What
Why
are
is
the guys
that? Because
yeah.
well,
What
why
are
is
the-
it? Because
yeah.
Andy Reid wants a fullback, and he's on the roster. Like that's not. I don't even. It's not even a question at this point for me. He's on the roster.
Yeah, you think so?
So,
I mean,
who else is playing fullback, Garrett?
I don't know. That is very true. Leo Chanel, I
Like,
guess. But yeah, you're right. There's if
I
Andy
mean,
Reid wants a fullback, and he usually does, like Carson,
it's
welcome to the
done.
team, bud.
It's a
Yeah.
done deal.
And
And
one,
so
one guy that we haven't, I mean, I don't know if anybody's really talked about a ton, but I've seen a lot of good things and read a lot of good things. Is who our third tight end spot. Like I know Wiley's coming back from injury, but Tanyan's looked good, and Tanyan's
Yeah.
and
I'll
Tanyan's
tell you
put
what.
up some decent years, and the Brining Stool kid, like
Yeah, he might be the.
He didn't practice today. He was hurt.
yeah,
Yeah, I
know,
think
he's a
Jake
little
Brings
dinged
too.
up
He's going
right
to
now.
be.
But, like we got a lot of tight ends on the roster too. Like
Yeah,
It-
yeah.
not sure
I
what's
think
gonna
Brings is probably going to be this year's IR redshirt candidate, if I had to guess.
I would
You
hope
cannot-
so, but
You cannot be hurt in
Yeah.
camp as
Yeah.
a tight end.
Probably
Yep.
going to get
If you
IR
wanna make
IR
this
redshirt,
roster.
if I had to guess. But
I
Tanyan,
agree.
yeah, there's a lot of names. Yeah.
So, but I legitimately Bob Tanyan is an established known commodity in the tight end
Right.
pool.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, he's probably their best blocking tight end that they have.
oh for
Who
sure.
he
Definitely
absolutely
over
can
Jared
still catch
Wiley,
the ball,
Yep.
but he can absolutely block.
Yep.
He was excellent at it in Green Bay. I don't know what happened with him where like everybody just forgot that he existed and teams just
he went
didn't
to
use him or
Minnesota
whatever.
for a little while and kind of
Yeah.
phased away. And
And
hey,
the
we know Andy
but-
loves his 14
Once
personnel,
he-
though. We know that he will employ 4 tight ends.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. They're gonna run. I wouldn't be stunned if they don't carry as many O linemen this year because they have Norzad and Jalen Moore to
Mhm.
kind of cover all of your backup spots.
Yeah.
For the most part, you might get an Ethan Driscoll out there, or oh god, what's the kid's name? Essapool. Pool?
That's
That's not right.
Yeah, you got it about right. It's like Pole, maybe just Pole.
So, other than like they may only run 8 or 9. It may not be because they did. I think it was 10 last year on the offensive line. I don't
Yeah,
think
they
you're getting to
kept
10
They kept an extra name. Well, they kept C.J. Hansen and Ethan Driscoll.
because remember you got 4 running backs and a fullback, and then you've got 4 tight ends. And then you've got
7 wide
6 or
receivers.
7 receivers because
Yeah.
Rashee Rice is going to be probably getting a suspension here the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And so, when you break down the 53 man, they may only carry 2 quarterbacks again, most likely because you get
Most
the
likely.
third emergency
good team,
quarterback
too.
activation from the practice squad.
I mean, you still, you
So,
got
like-
Bailey Zappi and Oladukin still.
Yeah, Zappy's
Bailey Zappi.
looked pretty good. Yeah.
Good talk, glad we had it. Sorry, Chris, you're fun and interesting because
Yeah.
you do weird runaround stuff, but
He's
you're
an
no.
SDSU jackrabbit. I'm not a huge fan. So
Yeah, old zip on the ball,
God,
Zappy's been
what-
looking pretty good so far. Old zip on the ball, Zappy.
But again, like your backup is Gardner Minshew, and then the third quarterback is going to the practice squad.
Yeah.
Like it's just the way it is. And so when you go to look through this, Andy's going to have to be a little creative with his roster construction because if he's going to keep 4 tight ends and he's going to keep and again I think Brenning Stool or Wiley or both may end up on the injured list / practice squad injured
I think
list
Wiley's gonna be back. Yeah, Wiley's good. I think.
He's still working on coming back from that injury, and that
I've seen
wasn't
some
a nice,
positive reviews
easy
about-
injury.
I mean, it was a very tough injury.
I don't think he's bad.
No.
I just think there's a lot to try to ask for him to be back to normal in the time frame from when he got hurt
Yeah,
with what that injury
early
was.
reports of camp. He's looking all right. Yeah.
They're going to have some little margin decisions to make. But like I said, like Carson Steele is on this roster. Kareem Hunt is on this roster. Isaiah Pacheco is on this roster.
Is Elijah Mitchell
Elijah
on this
Mitchell
roster?
probably on this roster.
I just don't know.
I mean,
I don't
Brashard
know.
Smith.
I don't know.
Well, and if he's not, it's between him and Brashard Smith
and
because
they'll
the
keep
other two are.
the draft pick over the free agent.
Yeah, you would think.
Maybe.
But Elijah Mitchell, when healthy, has been
Fine.
productive. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you keep 4 running backs? I mean,
And you might because you had so many injuries at running back last year, so much so that you had to pull Kareem Hunt off the couch and give him 30 carries in the first 5 minutes he was there and almost kill the man.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah. And so, you know, like I said, you're not going to – nobody's reinventing the wheel in these preseason games for the Chiefs because most of these roster spots are set. But, like, Tyquan Thornton –
He
That's
better
a big
not.
deal.
He better not look bad in preseason. I'll tell you what. Yeah.
It's a big deal because they'll go 6 wide receivers if he has problems in, especially on the special team side. Now, I said Dave already basically said they really like him on special teams. As long as he's functionally competent on special teams, he's probably on the roster.
That's the biggest thing. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes with this next week of camp and obviously leading into that first preseason game.
I'll tell you that though.
Yeah.
Also, it'd be quite fun to watch us take a Patriots wide receiver that they acted like was absolute garbage and turn him into 600 yards and 8 touchdowns because he just runs nothing but go balls.
Juju wasn't good enough to play for him last year. So.
He may only have 12 catches, Garrett, but they're all go balls. I mean, I'm not telling you he's going to be super productive other than, hey, he went deep and they didn't go with him because somebody doubled Xavier or Travis or Rasheed and he beat the 4th corner on the field like a kick drum. I'm not expecting him to be a god.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how he looks during preseason.
Think about it. Think about the offense and how they've run it. They've had a receiver that just keeps running straight down the field every route. Who was that last year and the year before? Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Justin Watson. When he was alive. And MVS the year before.
Yeah.
And the year before. And so, like, they always have that one dude. So, Tyquan, I hope you're in shape. Got your cardio up. Because
you better get your cardio.
That's probably going to be your role.
And
because you've got...
Tyquan's our tallest wide receiver at 6'2".
Yeah.
That's pretty surprising.
Well, that's because Andy Reid only seems to like wide receivers between 5'7" and 6'1". So
I mean, it's worked out pretty good. I'll just say it's worked out pretty good, that strategy. So that's all we've got for you guys tonight. Appreciate everyone tuning in and joining us on this one.
I lied. Jason Brownlee's 6'3". Sorry.
Oh, there you go. See,
he's not making the roster.
You know who Jason Brownlee.
You were right the first time.
You know about Jason Brownlee, yeah. All right, so I appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching. Be sure to check us out at Kingdom Says Pod, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Go over to our YouTube. Go drop a like. Go subscribe over there. We really appreciate any support on the YouTube. You can also find us on anywhere else you get your podcasts at, Apple Music, Spotify, wherever. You know, if you're looking for Chiefs content, we'll find it for you. So
you can't watch my camera cut out if you're listening on the podcast.
Yeah, you should definitely go check out us on YouTube, though. You see our beautiful faces and Kyle's camera cutting out and all that fun stuff. So, that's everything we've got for you. We'll be back next week sometime to talk more camp battles and NFL shenanigans and everything else underneath the sun. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next episode